that others will go back after consultation with their constituency from their orgs on the amounts. So we need to have the pledges right now, so at least we can record, so we can immediately do our deposit to the place. So that is what we are at now at the venue, Ryan.
Got it.
I think Mark said he had something to say during the venue portion.
Yes, thank you, John. So I just wanted to do one last check if there are any other updates from the venue committee. If not, I just have a few. I just have one comment that, or not comment. I just like to mention one statement from the embassy. But I just want to get all the updates first before I mention the statement. Can I confirm there's no other updates from the venue committee as of this moment?
As of this moment, other than the review of the contract, as we have already made the reservation and sound off to the management of Crescendo, and they blocked that date as we have indicated previously.
Thank you, Attorney Nedo. So yeah, right now, I'd just like to share to the body, although the embassy is not pressuring the body or the venue committee to finalize everything already, but I'd like to just mention some realities on the ground and maybe some other options if the body would like to consider it until maybe in the next meeting or the next meeting, the meeting after the next one. So I know that what I'm hearing right now, correct me if I'm wrong, is although we have already mentioned to Crescendo that we are very interested in their space, but we have not yet placed a deposit. A contract has not yet been signed. And in terms of funding as well, along with the finance committee, I don't think there is a, the seed money is not yet ready to actually reserve or rent out the space in its totality. So what the embassy would just like to mention or advise is, we know that this year time was a bit short and this is a really big undertaking. So there's no pressure from our side, but we do want to mention that if the venue might not be finalized and the finances and everything associated to it will not be finalized by the end of February, that would pretty much just give us roughly 3 months time to prepare. That's March, April, and May. No, so what the embassy would like to raise again is the initial idea that was also mentioned at the very beginning of these discussions, if it may be recalled, that if we can't get a venue for everyone, we can do our own capsule event, so to speak. We know that it's difficult to get the finances and everything in order, but if you guys want, the body can decide, okay, for example, NAFA can do one event. Right now, in terms of our programming, I was looking at it again, and it can pretty much be done by the individual organizations. For example, Unified can still do its exhibits. Some of the things, it's really just that June 10 that's affected by not having a venue, but we can do those in different events. The film showing on the same day, if it's gonna be a smaller event. So various organizations can do different events. And then what the embassy can do is, for this particular year, we can consolidate all those events wherever you guys are planning to do those on whatever dates. And then we can collate it all into one calendar under one theme or under one, for lack of a better word, under one banner, so to speak. So this at least gives us a bit more flexibility in case that realistically the body can't finalize the venue in the next 2 months, unless in the next 2 weeks, unless if the body is confident that if you sign the contract by, for example, next week, even without the full seed money, then you'll still have to work for that in the next 2 months, and we're all very confident that we can still do this despite the time constraint. So we just wanted to mention this to the committee, and I don't know if it's something that you would like to consider. This just options, again, being realistic of the time constraints that we have right now. I hope that was clear. If not, I can answer more or clarify more on some points there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Consul Mark. I think that will be noted by the steering committee. But I did remember there are two specific venues here on the events already approved by the steering committee. Number one is the venue where the Philippine Embassy will be offering the place relative to the exhibits, for example, that's taken care of, the Filipino History Symposium lectures, the networking activities. The June 10, that's a Saturday, that is the Philippine Street Festival. So specific activities, as I recall, and based on the activities approved, involves parades of organizations, the street food fair, outdoor street festival, food vendors, and several interactive areas. And I do believe last time, Consul Mark, what we did was we asked somebody if somebody can draft the save the dates, 1 to 30 June of 2023. And now, of course, there are a lot of organizations, and I thank the Bayanihan, for example, for their proactive role of announcing the approved activities last week during their Bayanihan Valentine's Ball, which is a prelude. And of course, all other organizations are expected also to continue doing that proactive role similar to what Bayanihan did. So based on that venue, right now, we have that seed money of $2,000, and we wanted to get an update from the other organizations on the pledges, and hopefully when Jan and I get the contract and review it, and hopefully those amounts will be properly raised within the next 2 months. If we have the deposit and seed money, then we are ready to proceed. So
yes, on that note, attorney, first off, I'd like to mention, I totally understand, but
yes,
I hope we do not advertise yet. Again, it's supposed to be a save the date, so hopefully you don't mention the events yet. Just mention that there are we're planning items, and we're planning to do this for the whole month of June. But like
yes,
I mentioned before, since like the venue is not yet finalized, we haven't put down the deposit. The embassy itself will not be sharing these yet, even informally, so that we don't retract information and we don't provide more confusing information as we go along. Second of all, although we are working on the events that will be held at the embassy, I still note that we have not yet received a formal request for the spaces or the proposals, but we have already started what is needed, at least from our side, to just get the approvals and the formalities be done at a later date. But we have already given heads up to Manila and all those. And although I don't have a final answer yet on those times, at this time, I would like to highlight or make note that it has not yet been approved. Even the number of people that we can accommodate in the Misa ng Bayan, if we can even do it at the embassy, these have not yet been approved, and we are still working on that. I understand as well, again, that there is already a seed money, and we're glad for that. But the thing or the statement that I was just mentioning earlier, the idea or that I was just mentioning earlier is as you can see, these events are like, for example, the exhibit at the embassy, that's fine. We'll continue to work on those. But for that Saturday itself, the one at Crescendo, like you mentioned as well, we don't have a final pledge yet from organizations if they can provide the funds. If the constituents are also interested in doing this. I know previously there was a concern for finalizing it in Maryland or in Virginia versus Maryland versus DC. So I'd also like to make note that this other proposal, but it's only secondary. If the Crescendo venue really does not turn out or is finalized within the next 2 weeks, possibly, doing separate events, but under the same banner that it's going to be the Independence Day celebrations done by the Filipino community will also give flexibility if, for example, there are some groups whose constituents would say, maybe we shouldn't give this we should not contribute because we're not going or we cannot go. So it's just flexibility on that note. And I'm not saying that we totally replace it already, but we would like to highlight that from the embassy side, we're worried that if by the end of February we don't actually finalize the venue, in terms of getting the full money for the venue already, and as well as not just a simple deposit and signing a contract, but actually knowing that we will be able, the body will be able to pay for the venue and all the other necessary setup, the tech, the stage, and all those based on the proposal given. I believe that required about $10,000. So if by the end of February the body thinks that it's going to be difficult, then I just wanted to make sure that we don't forget there are still options. This is not the Crescendo is not the end all be all. It's what we want, but if it really cannot happen, then we can still do separate events at separate venues, but they can all be under the banner of the steering committee. It can all have the same sub themes. It can all have, for example, if we are doing the street festival, you can do a smaller street festival in Virginia and another smaller street festival in Maryland, just because we could not get a common venue or a large enough venue or a venue that we would all like to have. So that's more of the idea from the embassy, and I hope that clarifies it. Thank you.
Mark and everyone, just two things. As far as I know from people giving me feedback from Maryland, having it in either DC or Virginia, and it's Virginia now, is not a problem for us. The Maryland people feel we can go there. Virginia and DC people come up to our events all the time, so that's not a problem for us. The other thing is the little teaser we sent out to people. It clearly says on there that the dates and times and venues may change, and this is just a proposal. So people are aware that what's out there is a proposal. Nothing is final.
Right. And I think the most important as a rejoinder to John's statement is that most important is for the previous meetings, we have already nailed down the dates and the events. So I think Consul Mark is correct. We saved the dates. So we have this general announcement. But what we did was, it's a draft because all the activities have been approved. It's a draft which was sent to everybody so everybody can comment on the program. So we are ready. So I'm still very positive that the amounts needed for the street festival can be raised. Ken, would you like to share any input here, Ken? As Ken is our logistics chairperson.
Attorney Valera, just a couple of things. I just want to make sure
Yes.
I do this for the minutes. What is the actual amount that's required for the venue that we're looking at right now, which is which is Crescendo.
Yes, Ken, would you share that again, please?
Yeah, the venue itself is like inside and outside, it's like 5,000.
Is that the amount the deposit amount needed, or that's the total amount
That's the total amount to rent the venue.
for one day?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's only one day, yes.
got it. And then
And-
Louis-Ann had her hand up.
Sorry, just to follow up on that question, gentlemen, you said so 5,000 to reserve Crescendo for one day, and seed money was mentioned, but is seed money the 5,000 or is seed money the 2,000? I heard a couple of different figures. Is the seed money already in the bag? If we could just really outline what we're looking at to accomplish before the end of February, that would be very helpful, please.
Yeah, the seed money, we just called it the seed money because during the previous meeting, I think you, NAFA was not there. It was decided, even the previous meeting, to raise an amount per organization or those members of the steering committee ranging from $250 to $500. So during the previous meeting, two organizations said that their organizations, archdiocese is $500, and I forgot, Kofut also said committed for $500 because they already discussed that. And my law firm through the Global Migrant Heritage Foundation, which I will be donating $1,000 for my tax deductibility issue. So we have now the money of $2,000. Now, during the previous meeting, it was also decided that I believe Pamwe is the one where we will be giving the money, right? If I'm not mistaken, for purposes of fiscal sponsorship, so that we asked organizations, whoever wanted to handle the money, and I think Pamwe volunteered as well. So right now, Louis, with regard to your clarification, yes, there is now $2,000, and we're supposed to discuss right now how much amount still are coming, as we are still in the early stages of these pledges, as we have given the organizations, that absolute right to discuss it with their board and their respective constituents. So.
Thank you,
Just to-
Attorney. Can I
just to be-
propose just a quick one that maybe, I know everyone's meeting at different times, but perhaps we can set a deadline for everyone to return with their final pledges, like in a week, and not wait until the end of February to make that decision. Is that possible to do?
That's good. We can even ask now if there are some developments or update. Hopefully there will be some pledges coming from PICC, PNA, who else, other organizations here, FABA, and
Yeah, NAFA would have to review it at the national level, so I can get back to you guys within a week, if that was what was decided.
And same thing for PACC. We can get back to you within a week.
And then also Mabuhay, we're meeting actually tomorrow night. So I was gonna bring that as part of my agenda.
awesome. Are there other organizations who would like to do that within a week? That's a good point by Louis. So we might as well fix and set it by this week. Yes.
Yes, a Philippine Humanitarian Coalition will be meeting tonight to
Awesome.
decide on that. Yes.
Awesome. So hopefully, yeah. All right. Will I be joining your meeting, PHC? Or no?
You can.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good point, really, Ryan, as indicated by Louis. We might as well now go on with these pledges, and a week is good to fix it.
I think
Okay.
if I might, the costs were sent out with the minutes earlier today or yesterday. The studios itself were $5,000, which includes the studio itself and the dressing room and the stage outside. And there are other expenses associated with it, which are logistical, for outside stage lights and so forth, and miscellaneous thing like restrooms. So it's $5,000 for the studio and probably 7,000 outside. It is what we were looking at. And
Okay.
that may not be, but that was what was put forth last week as a possibility, just for everyone. And it was put out with the minutes.
Yeah, yes. And I believe, Ken, you can share this, that the 5,000 is the inside outside. Now the miscellaneous is the rough estimate, because it's better to have excess money sufficient, because if we are trying to beef up the stage, they're providing only the basic lightings and the stage. If you want the additional there, then we need to spend as well, right, Ken?
Yes.
I'm just trying to make sure I added up. I heard it's 7,000 and 5,000. Is that correct for a total of
Yes.
13?
5,000 is the
For
fixed
12,
amount.
I mean. Yep.
Yeah, 5,000 is the fixed amount for the inside and outside of the crescendo.
Yeah,
The-
the other 5,000 is for the tech
Okay.
support. And then the other 2,000 for the miscellaneous fees for the bathroom, the cleaning fee, and whatever. Like, such as,
Would it be safe to
whatever
say
may
that?
occur.
Would it be safe to say that we are trying to raise 14,000?
12,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to
Just
keep it as low as we can
Well, of
for
course.
the sake of our
Yeah.
organization.
Sure,
Yes,
sure.
yes. So safe, Ken, to your
I think
masonry-
it's safe to say about 12,000,
yes.
12, okay,
more or less.
okay.
More or less.
Well-
If it is gonna be more, it's gonna be like very little.
And then
Okay.
there was something put on the chat, Ryan, something about,
Yes.
do we need to consider, what was
Event
that thing that you-
insurance.
Yes.
So typically, yes, so typically at our conventions and conferences, we would have event insurance. I don't know what, yeah, we would recommend that, not necessary, but and I don't know if Crescendo requires that. I'm not sure if we've seen the contract yet, but they may require event insurance.
Yeah, they might require that. Event insurance more like for a 1-day event, I'll say about between 200 to 400.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the miscellaneous then, right?
That would be, yes.
So we're looking at about 12,400, 12,500, just to round it off.
No, if you do the 12,000, that the other miscellaneous which were not enumerated, that would include also the insurance for the
Okay,
event.
that's good. So 12,000 overall.
Yeah, that's just a safe. So basically, if we want to be on a conservative side, of course, 5,000, 6,000 is enough. But if you want to make the event really good in terms of technology, then I think it would be safer to be on the safe side. So a little excess would be good in this type of event, since we're doing it for the first time. So now we have removed and eliminated, based on the decision of different organizations. There was a proposal previously to assess a entrance fee of $10 or so, but of course that has been decided that it should not be. It's not good to charge the public in celebration of the Independence Day. That's why we are banking on the organizations to do their best to fundraise, etc. The finance committee, I think, has not met yet, because I don't know, there are only few volunteers on the finance. So. But again, we are working on that pledges and seed money. So
And what
hopefully
is
we.
the?
Yes, right.
Just wanted to make sure I close this up. I see, I'm just doing some back of the envelope math. I see 15 organizations here that have wanted to make a pledge. If they pledge $500 each, it's $7,500. So the balance is
Yeah.
about 4,500 something. Is there is there a plan from the venue committee on how to get the rest of that funding?
Yeah, most likely what we will do there is solicit funds from different from different companies who would be participating. We have to do this in line with the finance committee as well. Businesses get pledges, and of course Ken will help as well, and other organizations. If we are able to raise from some businesses or so, or individuals, I think that would be easy to raise, because time is of the essence. We don't have the 1 year preparation of writing to different big companies at this point and at this juncture, I believe.
And again, I apologize if I missed this in the previous meeting, but what is the amount we need to reserve Crescendo?
Ken?
Say again.
What
I
is-
missed that.
Sure, just in the context of what Mr. Lim was saying earlier about making sure we get a venue by the end of the month. What is the deposit amount we would need to reserve Crescendo for that date?
Excuse me, Ryan, someone is waiting to let him in.
I'll say about
Yeah.
30 to 50%.
I think everyone's in. Oh, sorry, say that again. Sorry.
I'll say about 30 to 50% of the total amount of 5,000.
If we say 50%, then we would need by the end of the month
$2,500.
$6,000. $6,500. Mhm.
We need 2,500 at the end of the month, right?
Yep.
Because
Mr. Lim,
miscellaneous are not part of that, because we will be doing that separately on the technology. The moment we raise the 50% or 30% of 5,000, then we get the venue inside and outside. That's all.
Brian, Consul Mark
Yes.
would like to talk. He's raising his hand.
yes.
Consul
Hey, Mark.
Thanks, Ryan. So yeah, I think that was the main crux of the issue, at least from the embassy side. If everyone here believes that once we pay the deposit, we can definitely raise the total amount of 5,000 at the very least. That's excluding the outside stages and the miscellaneous expense. Then that's good. We're very happy with that. To hear that, at least
Yes.
we don't have to worry about next or plan Bs, so to speak, at this point. So
Right,
the only
right.
thing that would be highly affected in terms of budget would then be whether the body will still push through with an outdoor stage, or what the setup will be for the outdoors, especially for the bathrooms. I also note as well that I don't know if, since we were just talking about budget as well, I just wanted to squeeze in other miscellaneous fees that might have been discussed by the other committees, but was not considered for these total amounts. For example, the souvenir program. I believe it was approved, but I also don't see that in the current discussion for budget. So
Not yet.
yeah, so I don't know
Yeah,
how
that's
also
yeah.
like to allocate for that. So it's just more of a concern of to get all these costs together, just so that there are no surprises. As Ryan said, we now are sitting at 7,500 if all the organizations push through with their pledge of 500. We're still missing some amounts, so at least it would be easier for everyone as well.
Yeah, right. And I think that's a good point, Consul Mark. So the focus of the venue budget is clear cut. Souvenir program is always self-supporting, no matter what you do with it. So all those who wanted their organizations to be in the souvenir program, definitely there are certain basic rules there on how much to pay. So it will be, it can stand on its own, I think, on the souvenir program. So, but the main focus of the that particular budget, we are raising the 5,000, which we only need 30%. And it's good that we have a Filipino American who is managing that area. that edifice, that building. So it's easy to negotiate. And I think Ken Mendoza Faba have been doing a substantial number of events in that place, except that it's not as big as we have been doing right now. I'm very optimistic it can be raised. So by now, if we have 2,500 more, then we can, after John and I review the contract and we get the approval, then we'll proceed accordingly. So at least we can take care of the June 10, and then the souvenir programs and others that will be subject to a separate meeting. I'm sure all of you are experienced in preparing souvenir programs. You know the costs, like Bayanihan last time. They have several sponsors there. Of course, you can share some of your sponsor or other organizations. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to come up with a good souvenir programs. If all organizations, I did remember souvenir programs, one page ads is about 250 or 300 for the organizations, whatever you want, or even individuals as a come on, considering that this is with the blessing of the Philippine Embassy, it would be easy to raise that funds for that souvenir programs, I think.
Yeah, so thank you, Attorney. So I'm very glad to hear of your optimism. I hope the rest of the body also feels the same. So yeah, again, just wanted to mention there's this backup plan, and hopefully all the rest of the details can be discussed further. Just so it's just something to think about, and I just wanted to make sure that we're still being realistic with all of our plans. But it's very good to hear these new updates from yourself and from John and from Ken. Especially with the deposit. I know we are looking to raise at the very least about $12,000, but for the venue itself, I'm pretty sure if we can get the venue for 5,000 and we don't raise the miscellaneous expenses or the outdoor stages, I'm sure we can still be flexible enough to think of a different program or just tweak the program to still match whatever resources we have to make this event possible. But just something to consider as well, that it's not simply about just getting the venue, but to consider, like what others have said, the plan, because I mean, technically the finances is being handled by the Filipino organizations represented today, but I just also didn't want everyone to feel rushed by April that, hey, we're still halfway through our budgeting or financing plans, and do we still need to consider a plan B? So at this point in time, the embassy just wanted to raise the possibility of other things that we can look into.
And that's and Consul, that's a good point. But just remember, when we go to the basics of running this street fair festival in Crescendo, for example, we are not giving these tents or those who wanted to sell commodities or non-commodities or organizations. The tents are not free. You have to pay a certain amount there. That's also cost funds that we can raise, and also as well as those who want to advertise their products. Now the inside can be utilized as well for VIPs, as Ken was saying. There are drinks there that can be sold. San Miguel beer, for example, and others. I think we will be able to raise that funds considerably. But again, with caution, of course, we take into consideration what Consul Mark is saying. If within a week or so, or everybody are meeting with their organizations, given the end of February, we don't have that, then of course it's noted.
Point of clarification.
Thank you, Attorney. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. I'm going to recognize Olma real quickly. She had her hand up.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Didn't mean
No
to
worries.
butt in.
Yeah, you're next. Olma?
Okay.
Hi, thanks, Ryan. Just clarification, raising funds, because remember there was a suggestion before to get, sponsors for the event, but there's also this plan for a souvenir program. So are we coursing all sponsors through the souvenir program, or are we actually getting event sponsors also?
Good question.
There are events, I'm pretty sure there are events sponsored, like for example, this is the way I visualize it. You can make your comments based on the experience, and Ken, you can share as well. For events for June 10, for example, then of course there would be amounts raised there for whatever areas to be used and utilized by the other organizations, and donations that will be requested from business enterprises within the area or within the DMV area. That's the reason why we requested maybe there are some organizations who wanted to play an active role on that fund raising activities. Now, for the Misa ng Bayan, June 10, there is not a minimal. Global Migrant Heritage can take care of that. There is not much expense on that major event. Now, for the exhibits, I think the Unified will be able to submit that properly on what is the budget, and then other events are not that money consuming, so to speak. I did remember years back when there was the Philippine Independence Day celebration, the hardest is always the street festival. Now we are not doing any ball initially for lack of time, and there are so many events for that, which will be just simply spreading our resources thinly. Yes, to your question, Alma, yes, for the events for Saturday, which is the focus of the fundraising, I think, yes, we will be getting funds and asking donations for that to cover it. Yeah.
Mr.
But the
Smith,
primary-
you had a
Yeah.
comment you were making.
Ken.
Mr. John Smith?
Oh, yes, thank you. I just
Yeah.
point of clarification, the outside stage is already included in the venue of 5,000.
Correct. Yeah,
Correct.
correct. Yeah. Attorney, I got a question.
Yes.
We are going to have some vendors and non-vendors out there during the outdoor festival, right? Like
Yes,
people
of
will be
course.
selling their food, selling food, whatever they want to sell out there. We can
Gift
charge
items.
them.
Yes.
Are we going to charge them for a vendor
yes.
fee and non-vendor fees?
Yes, of course. Those selling, I did remember, I did watch some of our festivals, those who are selling gift items, traditional Filipino indigenous items, they sell that. They have profits, Filipino foods. Remember, our street food festival is a showcase, a continuing showcase of the taste of the Philippines. You remember our Philippine Restaurant Week from June 1 to 12, although we will not directly benefit from that and raise money for purposes of shouldering expenses for June 10. It's a continuity that whatever happens in that street festival, you're right, Ken, those food or non-food commodities will be, of course, subject to payments of fees if they
Right.
want to occupy a space there.
Right. So that's one way to raise funds to support the event or whatever event that we're going to have.
Yeah. How much normally is I think the space there is 10 by 10 usually for a particular tent.
Yes.
Is that what it is? Yes.
Yes. 10 by 10. Yeah.
So the committee can decide how much for a tent of 10 by 10 for food and
Correct.
non-food vendors. I'm sure
Yeah.
that for non-food vendors it's a little bit cheaper, right?
Yeah. Yep. Much cheaper because
Yeah,
they
much
won't be
cheaper.
selling anything. They won't be selling anything. They just there for promotion.
Yeah, right. Like for advocacy groups, we wanted to make sure that Filipinos or even non-Filipinos or immigrants would be able to know, hey, are there organizations there that would help on legal screening or free healthcare services just in case, or those providing knowledge or network on some federal or agencies or so. I think they should be given that right to do that as part of the service, so they will be even for free or even less amount
Will
to
the
be
venue
charged.
team, will the venue team be managing the vendors number one and the logistics on site number two?
Does the logistics work together with the, I do believe, the logistics and the finance, right, Ken, last time? I forgot the previous minutes. And the venue will be, of course, helping them right there and there.
Yeah,
Attorney
yes.
Valera, have you read the email from Eileen with regards to the finance and where we can address the check?
No,
She emailed us.
you can
Have
share
you
it
read it?
now.
Huh?
Can you share it now, please?
It's okay.
It is in the email though.
What does it say?
Hold a second.
Is
Max,
there a way?
Max,
there-
I will forward it to you, Max, and then can you share, Max? Because
Okay,
it's on my cell phone though.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
I
You
will
refer,
forward it to Max and Max will just share it.
I'll try to
Max.
share in the chat box.
Yeah, it is in the chat box. Okay, Max, it's there now with you.
is that where you,
Eileen's
that,
answer. I mean, she emailed you, attorney.
okay, I'm sorry, I'm very bad on the retrieving messages. So
Yep, I'm not seeing anything here in our Zoom chat.
Not
Is
in the Zoom chat, but in your messenger.
Okay, let me.
Do you
do
mean
you know
Facebook
that?
Messenger? Or?
No, I just took a picture from the email though. Hold a second.
Okay.
Can you just simply give us the gist, Velma, if you don't mind?
There's
Is that
there's some condition, attorney. I mean, for transparency, and there's some conditions that they might be handling. They might accept the reciprocatory finance where our check will be addressed to them.
I
So
can.
yes?
not with 100%, you know. I understand their situation as well, because they don't have, because of their mission as well. So it is better that everyone can read it and then analyze. Then we can suggest or we can decide to whom the check will be addressed to. Because her last
Okay.
her last statement is, we are happy to assess a bill with limitations to ensure we are operating within the scope and our chapter and mission.
I
So,
think that was my email
oh, that's your
to the
email?
group. Yes, yes, sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Can you share so that
Yes,
everybody can
I
read?
actually
I-
will just give you the gist.
I
Well,
can
last,
share.
yeah, I can give you the gist. Last
Okay.
week, it was discussed that
Thank you.
there is a possibility that PHC could be the payee. Well, I actually consulted with Miss Victoria Navarro, the executive director of PHC, and also with Cynthia McGee about this possibility. And well, the conclusion is, I mean, because we are a 501c3 organization, and our mission is mainly, raising funds to respond to the disaster victims in the Philippines, and everything that we gather from our cultural events actually every cent of it goes to our projects in the Philippines. So there's a problem as far as, well, according, my email stated that the finance team of PHC is pleased to inform you that we are able to assist in collecting funds from donors and member organizations for the upcoming event. However, there are limitations because the main concern is that we cannot be a pass-through for collecting funds and contributions. But the funds could be sent to our PO box as far as just being a repository, but we cannot be the payee. And because if we are going to have to account for donations and expenses, and that will have to be explained to the IRS. And for that reason, that seems to be the limitation. So taking that into consideration, we can be of assistance as far as collecting the donations, and depositing it through the PO box. But we also cannot, there probably should be a designated office among, in our PIDC steering committee that is assigned to actually discuss this again and decide who the payee is going to be. as far as our donations. And we also cannot call organizations to tell them to submit or already give their pledges. We cannot do that as well. So those are our limitations.
Eileen, does that mean you cannot, your organization will not write checks to the venue, for example?
Oh, Marie Ortiz.
Marie,
I'm,
yes.
Sorry,
I'm
Marie.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we can give a check as far as donation to the PIDC steering committee for this project, but it's just that we cannot be the payee for all the people donating and organizations donating, because it looks like we will be receiving the funds, and that's a very sticky situation as far as IRS is concerned.
So any
Yeah.
501(c) cannot do that. They can receive payments, but we cannot give out the money because we will be audited. The same thing with Mabuhay, because we're also a 501(c) organization.
501c3, you mean, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yes. So nonprofit organizations. Yeah.
And that is really a valid concern, because that is really because every amount that is received by a 501c is accounted for. And that's the reason why it's very tricky. The way
Yeah,
we are going
yeah,
to
I
propose how
think-
to collect the money is very tricky.
Right. I think what we can do is, the reality is, number one, PIDC has no legal personality of its own. So I think, John, we can contact an accountant, because I know that can be cured by an MOU. Okay, especially if that organization receiving the amounts has a specific program on cultural and networking activities, where there is an MOU relative to that these funds, although passing through, are specifically for that purpose, for the promotion of Philippine culture or Philippine Independence Day Festival. But again, on the safe side, I think, John, let's do a little consult with an accountant. I'll do that. Just everybody will be on the safe side, because I know it can be done on an MOU. But again, Ryan, I will defer to you. You have a vast experience on this, but of course we have to make sure that everything is done properly, so as not to place the fiscal sponsor, not fiscal sponsor, but the organization extending its services to help us in the absence of a PIDC legal personality. So.
Yeah, it's very possible, like you said, attorney, but I do want to make sure that, I talk about the risk too.
Yes.
You are putting your organization's status at risk if you do not have, as attorney said, a properly written MOU. NAFA does it all the time. We're also a 501c3. We do it all the time to give funds to Filipino organizations in the Philippines. And we have a very standard MOU there. I think the challenge with this particular situation we have is that it looks like we're trying to make money with ticket sales and food sales. So there are taxes involved. And if depending on where we do it, DC, Maryland, or Virginia, we will probably fall under their taxes. NAFA is based in DC. And so we pay DC taxes if we were to sell anything. And so it can get, like you said, really, really sticky because of the sales. And because we're planning to make sales. So, it really, we probably need a, consultation, like attorney said, with a lawyer. But there is still a risk for each organization. And so it's something that you guys have to think about.
Right.
So John, maybe you have a network of your friends there. I have mine, but I'll start consulting tomorrow, just to make sure that I think it's a very valid concern. A lot of organizations have done that, but again, it has to really make sure that, I know that taxes, again, if the one renting a space or tent is selling food, of course, they have their own income, etc. That's independent of us. We don't deal with them. So what they're only doing is renting the space, right? Or paying the space for that use of that space. But of course, again, it's still sale. It's still sale. So
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just to clarify, we're going to consult a person that works in Virginia because we're going to be following Virginia state rules there.
Yes, that's right.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, NAFA is based in DC. And I don't know, do we have any Virginia organizations in the group?
Yeah, there's a lot here. Well, the Global Migrant, we are PACC is Virginia, right, Alma?
Attorney Valera,
Yeah.
kindly address Vice Consul Mark's inquiry.
What was that?
Oh, his question is, pardon my ignorance, but are the tent vendor fees considered as sales as well? The answer to that was yes.
Yes.
I think so. Again, I think I'm not an accountant,
Well, it wouldn't-
but it seems it's sales. Yeah.
It wouldn't be a donation, so it would be sales.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. If I don't know, we'll have to consult it creatively. Shall we run afoul if that the one who is selling lumpia, for example, but it's still a sale, actually. I don't see any way of saying that they're donating $250 for the use of that space or donating it to the commemoration of our Independence Day celebration. I think it can be done. So the only issue there is that payee or that organization handling it has to have that component that it does, spread cultural or what you call promote cultural diversity and, promotion of Philippine culture. That's what it should be. I don't know if Unified is also a 501c, but you are in Maryland, right?
Yes, we're 501.
Neda, excuse me.
Yes.
Neda, excuse me. This is Grace. So those are all sales, but in Fiesta Asia, what we do, because we do a street sale in Washington, D.C., that's considered also as expense because we're paying for the street or we're paying for the space. So it's like a self-liquidating. It can be considered, I'm not an accountant, but that's how they report it. That's how we report it. And these are all for nonprofit causes, yeah. As long as you make a complete report, yes, as long as you make a complete detailed report, like this one came from the vendors, the non-food vendors, and these were all spent on the space or on the tent rental. But in this case, we are requesting them to bring their own tents. But still, since we are paying for the space itself, they are practically paying for their space. So it's also an expense for them and also an income. But it's how you will present it. But the IRS, or rather the place where we usually report to, they will consider that as part of our report.
Yeah, and
This
to add
is
to that,
Marie.
Oh,
Yeah, I think for a 501c3 organization, a sale is okay as
Yeah.
long as we show the IRS that the funds that we
Yeah.
get from the sale goes to the mission of
Yeah.
the organization, because we do it all the time in our
yeah.
other organizations. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yes, precisely, because that's what we do also for the street festival in Fiesta Asia.
So then the problem becomes, is there an organization here whose mission would be as close as possible to, what we're trying to achieve in the PIDC?
Yeah. I think the best way still, it will not do us any harm to consult. Okay, so I think let's take the
And
safe
only
side.
a Virginia-based organization is allowed, Neda, because since we're holding it in
Yes.
Virginia, only a Virginia-based organization is allowed.
Is Pamwe registered in Virginia? PACC, Alma? Is Alma still there?
Yeah, sorry. PACC is Virginia, but we're a C6.
Oh, you are a C6?
Yeah.
Okay, Pamwe, I'm sure it's 501c3. Who else?
Attorney Pamwe is in DC, registered.
Registered in DC?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll try to find a way.
The 501c3s were from our end that it's Global Migrant Heritage, UST Alumni, and ISA. Those are all Virginia-based or Virginia registered organizations.
Is what you call it, Rene here for the USTAA? If they are Virginia, again, I know I did all your 501c3, but I'm not a tax lawyer. Okay, I don't know the because it's an issue of different nature. But I think there is a way, legal way. Again, I would defer to a short consultation on that, so we can go on and we'll see how it goes. So there are now, at least most important is there are 3 major 501c3 organizations that we can bank in, as well as PHC. I did remember that's also DC or Marie, is it? Virginia.
PHC is Washington, D.C.
It's in Washington, D.C.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. We'll take that again next time. So most important is for now. Technically, what about FABA, Ken? Can it be a recipient of some donations or pledges?
Yeah, we are 501c2.
There you go.
Yeah, 501c3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think after our consult with an accountant, then I will, John and I will talk to you, Ken, and we'll see on the a drafting of an MOU or MOA for that purpose. So we have to make sure that you're also protected.
Okay.
If I might, yes, the Katapunan does this all the time as well, as you all know. So they're very expert on this. And I'll talk to Helen. She's an accountant anyway, Helen Zadora. So I'll figure this out in the next day or two and get back to you all.
Yeah, okay, good. Because I think clearly for furtherance of the mission of a non-profit 501c3 organization, we are not engaging in business on this. But of course, we have to be careful as well. Okay, Ryan. So
Okay. Yep. We're very behind in time here, but the next team is the publicity and media team. Do they have any updates?
Well, Gracia, I do believe you're sitting there as well, right? On the publicity and PACC.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to send out the meeting from last week. So I saw your email, Kuya John, on the publicity members. So I'll send that out tonight.
Yeah. So okay, go on, John.
I'm sorry, but Mark has indicated
I'm sorry,
we
I
should
only
hold
prepared
everything on the publicity. This is just until we get things finalized. So we're kind of in a holding pattern here. And Grace has already done some work on this already. Grace, I'll turn it over to you.
Great.
Yes, I did. I prepared a general announcement based on John Smith details, as well as on the approved activities by PIDC. So there were some comments there by Consul Lim, and of course, since it's just a draft, we'll alphabetize everything, and I just have to make sure that we have the correct names of the different organizations like PAASE and CUFOT and all that. And after which, once we have finalized the venues, based on what Consul Lim has done, probably we can hold on not to be declaring Philippine Embassy as venues for some of the events where Philippine Embassy is involved. I mean, wherein we put there as the possible venue. So just for us to release this, let's just remove the Philippine Embassy as a possible venue. Maybe we just say TBA, to be announced, venue to be announced, so that at least we can release already this general announcement.
Yeah, because what
if it's
we are
okay
facing,
with the group, I've emailed you.
Yeah,
I've emailed you a copy of the general information, okay? And then we will just fix it accordingly as long as we remove that.
So my understanding here, Gracia, is again, Consul Mark can fill in the June 11 Misa ng Bayan, where we have where we will be conducting the People's Mass the ecumenical symbolic offerings, the flag raising ceremony, wherein we limit, and the greetings of the ambassador, reception, awards, and recognition, where we limit the attendance to 4 or 5 per organizations. We don't have a specific venue for that. I did remember last time we wanted to have the Philippine Embassy as the venue, right? For the People's Mass, Gracia? Or Consul Mark?
Yes, attorney.
Yeah,
you said
according to Consul Lim, all he wanted, of course, was the letter.
Okay.
Remember, for
Yes.
us to tell him, and then I think he has already consulted initially the Home Office for that. So pending the approval from the Home Office, that's the only reason why he's holding it in abeyance, announcing the Philippine Embassy as a venue. But once he gets the approval of the Home Office, then we can push through. So what I'm suggesting is that we can push through a general announcement as long as we put the venue as TBA. Because so far, the only ones that are sure, is the Crescendo. The rest are even the exhibit, even the rest of the, the film showing, we are proposing to hold it at Crescendo still. But just the same, as far as the Philippine Embassy is concerned, we are still holding to it until we get the approval from the Home Office.
Consul Mark, may you fill in on how soon can we know if the Philippine Embassy would be a good venue for?
I've been following up with them. Hopefully by next week or by end of February as well, I'll have some even initial confirmation. But as Grace said, we've already done some of the initial work towards it. We haven't done the final paperwork yet because we still need the formal letter requests from the group or whichever organization, but we have already initially discussed this with Home Office, and they are also checking. I think the biggest issue right now with the Misa ng Bayan is initially when I mentioned 100 to 120, that was under the assumption that everyone is standing, because sorry, my thinking then was for right after the flag raising, so everyone is standing. But of course,
Yes.
Misa ng Bayan people might need chairs, so that's gonna drastically reduce the number of people we can accommodate. But aside from that, as Grace said, totally correct. We're just waiting for final approval from Home Office, and once we get that, we're more than happy to inform the group, and we're more than happy to do the same as of this moment, even informally. Grace, you weren't here yet, but what Bayanihan did was they actually already announced it as well, but they did not announce the venue. I believe John said they just mentioned that, hey, we have, for example, a film showing or the concert on June 9. Watch out for that, but please note that this is
Yeah.
still tentative and discussed. So that's something we can also do. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's a good suggestion. It coincides with what the embassy is also indicating. So I would just simply move that we do a general announcement. I move for a formal motion on that as suggested by Gracia, and then let's do that without with the indication of TBA for the other events where we don't have a fixed venue. So at least now we're ready to go. We're ready to move. Save these dates, 1 to 30, June 1 to 30, 2023. My only comments is we have to make sure that the steering committee here listed as organizations kindly follow the protocol that we have. In the steering committee, all organizations preside based on the alphabetical order. So we might as well do this alphabetical order on the announcement to the PIDC steering committee for the announcements. That's
Sorry,
all.
before we move with the notion, Neto, I just want to mention, since there is also still an issue with, since you still need to consult with an accountant on who can actually do
Yes.
the things, do you think it is already good to announce even the June 10 events, which is being planned at Crescendo? Because if my worry now is if there is no group who can handle the finances in actually paying Crescendo or other vendors and all those, will the committee still actually even consider having Crescendo as a venue if no one can actually take money and pay money for that? This is, again, I think, where
yes.
we can still just hold off on the announcement for another
Sure.
2 weeks until after you consult with an accountant. And again, worst case scenario, if there is really no organization even a loophole of an MOU. If it's really not possible, then we can again look into just separating the events by per organization and then holding them under one banner. But I think that's a point that we can look later on after your consultations with an accountant on how we can actually do the finances as well.
Yeah, okay, John, so
Vice
we can,
Consul,
okay,
excuse me.
so,
Vice-
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Vice
Lauren.
Consul, I have a question. If, for example, it will push through that you're talking about different organizations to hold on the event, what is your idea of putting all those events together under one banner? Let's say
So-
there's an event in Maryland and there's an event in Virginia, all at the same day. How would the Philippine Embassy be able to handle such event in two places?
So here's where we are at right now. We're actually pretty much doing it right now. For example, Unified is planning the exhibit, an opening on June. I forgot the Saturday. I think it was 7 or something like that.
June 3rd.
And, June 3rd, for example. And then Mabuhay, no, sorry, not Mabuhay. Paase was planning to do a lecture series on June 8th, for example. So if Bayanihan would like to do like a I don't know, indoor dance presentation or something, or a family day on June 6th, then we know that June 6th, no organization is planning an event on that day yet. So we coordinate our calendars just so that we can have an event almost every day. And of course, because we do not have a venue like Crescendo, I'm not sure if organizations at this time will still be able to get big venues. So for example, the Paase talk, that's only expected to have 100, but we are expecting, I think the estimate of the group was even 3,000 people will be interested in doing something similar. So if there are 3,000 people, we're just cutting the audience up. One group can go watch a cultural performance, another group can go listen to a lecture. So it's something like that. It's coordinating the calendar because I understand that we just can't get the venue either through financing problems or through a contract problem. So that's just the points that we have.
Well, I have a follow-up question. So for example, with your idea of doing that, like for example, if God forbids the Crescendo is not going to hold through because of the funding and problems that we may incur, let's say there's an event a small event somewhere in Maryland, and there's a small event somewhere in Virginia. Let's say everybody wants to be in June 10th because that's really is the Philippine Independence Day celebration, as we say. How would that be represented also by the embassy? I mean, is there any embassy representative who will go to each event?
We will try. Of course, we also have limited personnel, and we will see what we can do. But hopefully, with this coordination, we can try to avoid that as well. Because right now, I mean, I think we have enough groups to do at the very least one event every day. And we will try to do what we can. Of course, I can't even. I know this is a bit hard to swallow, but I cannot even guarantee the ambassador's presence in all of the events. No, but this is the like I said, Plan B. This is the scenario. The things that we want cannot happen, and I'm just mentioning this because we only have a few more months ahead, and I wanted to give the group enough time to, if they decide to go with Plan B, we still have time to actually consolidate our efforts and still work on it. So if that happens, the main thing that we will need to continue working on will be with the publicity team on how we can coordinate the calendars and the banner or even a branding for that.
Yeah, my only comment is, number one, when PIDC convened, we obtained all the proposals from different organizations and merged it. So we agreed on the activities. And there are only two venues specific, Embassy and Crescendo. So that's all, and the Octon as well. So although we wanted to have separate activities and things like that, and there are different plans, again, what I don't want to disturb is what has been previously discussed on the activities, like the activities that they proposed in the embassy, the exhibits, the networking, etc. Although these are activities where we have already volunteers to undertake them, they are under the PIDC, right? With the steering committee, right? The one that we have been discussing. So the only issue is the June 10 then, and the which is not really an issue unless subject, if it worse comes to worse, that we are not able to raise the amount. The only drawback of several activities is I did remember even last year when the steering committee has not planned this, other organizations are already planning to do a street festival, cultural festival in Virginia. I think I did remember Paba, Ken, and the others are raising that already. What we don't want is to split organizations on activities. It's good. Everybody is good to do it, different types. But if we have figured out the dates, like for example, Days of the Philippines, the exhibits, so it's now the lectures and symposiums, we have specific dates that were solved on that. So the People's Mass, then the street festival. So of course, we can always have activities in Maryland, in Virginia, in DC, or in some other areas coordinated, right? So again, this is a DMV activity. So I'm just trying to see where we don't want to split and thinly and spread our resources very thinly, as it would
Yes,
not
Nado.
overwhelm with our sub theme.
Sorry, Attorney Laura. Ati Laura has her hand up.
Yes, I have a follow-up question to both Vice Consul Lim and also Arnedo. So I think Vice Consul Arnedo is just setting that up just in case it's a planned.
Yeah.
However,
Understood.
I think we have to remember the event is for Philippine Independence Day. Our problem is how to put the money together. Question: if we will it be possible if the donation that we are going to get will be payable to the Philippine Embassy and let the Philippine Embassy discharge all the money, since the event is desperate is really for the Philippine Embassy? Is that possible?
Nori,
No.
the embassy cannot accept any donations. Remember that.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
embassy.
See, I'm not talking
Otherwise,
the
we
embassy,
would have
I'm
done that
asking the
for the past years.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason why the embassy has always shunned away from any financial transaction. Remember that. We've had the we have the Philippine Festival for the past 2 decades. So now the thing there is the reason why, sorry, Consul, I just wanted to butt this in if it's okay. The reason why we're having the PIDCs, we wanted to coordinate all activities, and we're trying to prevent other organizations to be holding the same events as the day that we are having the June 10. So that's why it's called PIDC, it's Philippine Independence. No one like, for example, no one like, if ever Migrant Heritage plans to have its own independent, we will not have that, because we want to respect the PIDC event as is, and we want that to happen as well. Now, if it's just as far as financing is concerned, the only thing that we're gonna consult is whether it's possible or not to have the MOU and then all that. But since this is a private venue, it's easy even for a private individual, for example, to advance for it. If Attorney Valera has committed to advancing for it, and then later we can resolve it as to whom the checks will be made payable to. That's the only thing. So we can hold it. What we can do is, as far as the venue is concerned, just hold on to it. We will not announce the Philippine Embassy as a venue. But for Crescendo, I think we can already announce it as a possible venue, already, because we are. Attorney Nedo, you have already committed to signing the contract on our behalf, if ever,
well,
just to save the date.
Yeah.
So all we wanted was just to bring out the general information. That's all that is the concern right now.
Yeah, so I think Consul Mark has a good point. So number one, let's do a general announcement without the venues, right? And then we will do the consultation, John and I, with the accountant to resolve that money issue and who's issuing the check. Because for me, for my law office, it's easy. I will issue a check to Crescendo and I will do that as a business expense or ads. That solves my problem. With the other organizations, I don't know, they can issue the check directly to Crescendo. That's also one way of creative, and it's still legal. Because again, I'm doing this to promote the festival, but of course, if I'm donating $1,000, then I want that also to be an ad for my law office, right? So it's just reasonable. So, but again, cautious aside, we have to take the advice of Consul Mark. Let's do a general announcement. And then as we do the consultation, and one proposal I have is if push comes to shove, then we can talk to Crescendo. I will issue the check or the others directly to them if that's possible, and organizations can take that as expense or whatever that is. But again, we have to clarify that, John, if that's also a possible method.
I think that is also a good idea, attorney. And then the PAM will just receive all the checks, but it's addressed to Crescendo. So when in times for paying, all the checks will be there, but in different organization though.
Yeah, that's also, they only receive physically the check, right? That's what
And
you're
all
saying.
organizations will not be harmed because they are giving the checks direct to the venue. That's a good idea though, but it's also a rest for everyone to do such, because they still need more 4,000, I think, additional, and where we get that money though.
Yeah, so just just to keep time, I think we have resolved that, Ryan. So let's proceed, and we'll take that advice of Consul Mark. We'll do a general announcement. We'll consult, and that's what we are at now. And then hopefully within the next week or so, we'll resolve that issue. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Ryan, before you proceed, I just want to make sure if that's the case, Nedo, I will try to edit the general announcement into a general announcement minus the venue, up to the committee's approval, because I'm still in Manila and I want to do it before I start work this Saturday. So just let me know right away, because I may not have enough time starting Saturday while I'm in Manila.
No, we can do the motion now because we already absorbing the advice of Consul Mark. We'll do the motion. We'll do the general announcement now. I move that we release a general announcement, or maybe a couple of days after we consult, as Consul Mark said. It will take us 1 day, 2 days, probably, John, right? 3 days, maybe.
Yeah, just to be safe, yes.
Just to be safe, 3 days, so I can move also. I'll do it this weekend, I guess. And then we do the announcement. Can we do that, Gracia? Sometime early next week or so.
No, I'm here on an assignment by the U.S. government, so that means I'm really going to be very busy, and my movement may be restricted even if I'm in the hotel. So that's what I'm suggesting. If you're just holding out simply because you're holding, or rather waiting for the fiscal sponsor, we can just do with the general announcement without mentioning the venue of the Philippine Embassy. That's it.
All right.
Because there's no finance concern is involved there. The only difference there is that as far as the Quezon's movie is concerned, we might not hold it anymore at Octon. That's why we are. I discussed with. I mentioned to Faba to Ken that we can hold it. We can hold the film showing at Crescendo. So that's the only difference in that overall general announcement.
Okay.
Ati said.
Thank you. I just wanted to make clear, John, you're going to talk to Helen Sedora as an accountant to check and see, but that's, I just want to be clear that that's not a commitment by the Katipunan, because I don't know if she is the attorney or the treasurer of the Katipunan's board, to make that determination that it is doable. I think that's great. Ate Helen would be great, but I just wanted to make sure that it's clear.
Yeah, no, there's, Katipunan will not be on the line for anything. And if necessary, I'll go to another account.
Okay, so do we need to do a motion that for the general announcement? What's the pleasure here? Of the
I
steering?
think
Well, I think we decided that the general announcement that we have that's drafted is ready to go as long as we subtract the location, correct?
All right, okay, if that is the
Yeah.
case, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, then we'll no
I don't think we
longer
need a
have
formal
that
motion. I think we just all agree that that's.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I move that the general announcement be released minus the one agreed upon on the venues.
Yep.
Relative to embassy and so on.
Yeah, second
I
that.
second.
Okay, is there any discussion? If there is no discussion,
So
then
who is the next host next meeting?
we'll go to that. So if there is no discussion, John, we can put this. Everybody who's agreed to the motion, then just say
Is
yes.
anybody opposed?
Raise your hand.
All right, we have, there's no. Carries.
Okay, I think we've already so we covered the publicity and media team. I think we don't have anyone at the finance and solicitation team tonight, do we? So no updates there. And then the liaison team, is that essentially the logistics team that we talked about earlier? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Are there folks on that team to give us any updates?
Wait, sorry, Ryan, about that liaison team, because actually, although it's not laid out, I just want to make sure that one of our activities is the restaurant week, right? We're hoping that the liaison team can step into that part of liaising with some of the restaurants who would like to participate in this restaurant week.
Is there anyone on the team that can give updates on that?
Yeah, the date is fixed, but the mechanics are not. So this has to be convened. I was hoping PICC would.
Yeah, because I'm just hoping that the
volunteer.
liaison team, if we have 1 or 2 or 3 volunteers who can who can approach some of the restaurants in DC, all we have to do is write a letter to them informing that we have this restaurant week. That's the embassy usually did that. We have done that in the cultural section of the Philippine Embassy for the restaurant week. However, we left it to the organizations. We are leaving it to the organizations now if it's okay. I mean, if the organizations can do it. If PIDC will write a letter to the restaurant.
Yeah, and I'm sure they would agree for.
Committee.
Yeah, like for example, for Philippine Independence Week, I'm sure they would agree to create a menu for that week in celebration of our Philippine independence on a very discounted rate. They can put a name, whatever they want. That's what we wanted to do to promote a taste of the Philippines and our culture. So we really need PACC here and others. So
I'm not sure. I think they only have one representative.
I'm a representative also of PACC. I'm sorry, I wasn't aware that looking at meeting notes now, did PACC offer to be part of this restaurant week project?
no,
I'll have to follow up with them.
No. I'm just saying, suggesting.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm just suggesting.
Okay, I can definitely check back with our group as part of the discussion on the pledge.
Yeah, because
Louis, this is Grace. Louis, this is Grace. The reason probably Attorney Valera mentioned PICC because you're more in touch with the businesses in DC and Virginia. And I remember when it comes to businesses, we have always relied on PICC. So that's why he's requesting the help of PICC.
yeah, and they have a
okay.
warm
Hi, Grace.
yeah, and Louis, they have a warm rapport because I always see you always conducting networking meetings in Sari. We have that excellent Filipino chef in Pinay Kitchen, in Kabayan. and then the one in with Fernandez on the jazz, Kuya Jazz, and
Yeah,
everything.
we do like to eat on a
Yeah.
monthly basis. So yes,
Yeah,
we do have monthly networking meetings. So I'll plug that in every first Thursday of the month, I believe. But yes, I will double check with the attorney. And thank you, Ate Grace, for that explanation.
And Louis, I would volunteer to develop the concept on what we need to promote on the Taste of the Philippines, creating that special menu for the Philippine Independence Day celebration on a 20-25% discount. I'm pretty sure they're willing to promote that. So,
And if I may, Attorney Valera, maybe we can volunteer if NAPA can help draft the letter. I think you
yeah,
guys will be able to
Ryan.
create
Yeah, we're happy to, yeah, sure, we're happy to draft the letter. Did I notice that we have a memo, a PIDC memorandum template, or no?
No, we're supposed to do a what you call a letterhead. If you are able to volunteer and we can have
That
a
will be
PIDC
wonderful, yeah.
letterhead, that's good.
Okay,
that will be wonderful. And then Attorney Valera, if we can also make it formal, I'd like to ask NAFA to join the secretariat because I think you're
They're already part, right?
yes,
think.
but we want to make sure that they
Yeah, they're part of the secretariat, Mox.
they-
The thing there is when they write a letter, it has to be under the PIDC just the same. So
Yeah.
they're writing as PIDC, not as
Yep.
NAPA, not as migrant or Mabuhay.
that's right.
yeah, that's
And
why
just-
I'm asking about if we have a letterhead. So I can create the letterhead, that's easy. And then
Yeah,
I'll-
you create a letterhead and then thank you for that. And then
Thank you, Ryan.
we have a good secretariat here for now. Then we'll proceed. I think that's very good.
and I can write the invite to the Filipino restaurants in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. No problem.
Yeah, to participate. Yeah, very good. Awesome.
Thank
Yes,
you, Ryan.
please. Oh,
That's
yeah, then
great.
that's it. You're part of the liaison committee now. That's good. And the
Okay.
PACC, of course. You're also part of PACC, right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, this is fine. It's-
Okay, so
like-
that's it. So yeah, okay, that's very good. Well, anyway, so if you're gonna write a letter, just put the PIDC. And then that's only for the first week. And as much as possible, we don't only approach Philippine restaurants, because during our restaurant week in the embassy before, we've always had even the steak houses, as long as they put there, because we're trying to promote the Philippine Independence Day that week or that month. So they, in the restaurant week, they give discounted meals for their steaks, and then they put there the Philippine Independence Day. That's how it was before.
Yeah, because I did remember we have that great Filipino chef in Alexandria. The one it's an American steakhouse. We
Yeah.
spoke to them. I think they'd be more than willing to carry the banner of the Philippine Independence Day celebration. So
Okay, moving us.
Yeah,
to-
that's the 1799 Prime Steakhouse, right?
yes, that's what I.
Yeah, moving us to the program team updates. Is there someone from the program team here to give us give updates?
Gracia, would you fill in on that?
Yeah,
souvenir or
so
the
far
program?
the only update there is as we've discussed with Faba, Ken, the film showing may have to be moved to June 10, and we will use Crescendo as the venue for that. Meaning, since the movie is only 1.5 hours, we can put the film showing from 5 to 6:30.
Yep.
Indoor.
And I'd like to add something from the NAFA side there. We had originally had the combined activities, and we had June 9 as the day where NAFA would be scheduling Philippine history and Filipino American history lectures. It looked like it was moved to June 8. With the
June
movie,
3.
Yes.
with the
June
movie,
8, yeah.
would we be able to move it back to June 9? I wasn't aware of that movement, but I've already been planning for speakers, and I've already told speakers to reserve June 9. Is it
All right.
possible to move everything back to June 9 for the lectures?
So since this lecture series was actually between Unified, PAASE, and now NAFA, maybe we can sit down next week and we can
Okay.
do the rescheduling, and then the venue also, because that's also a concern.
What were those organizations? Unified?
Mabuhay and PAASE.
And Mox, Attorney Valera is joining us because he is our legal counsel actually of Unified. Yes, Attorney Valera. This is about the history education, right? Mox?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. No,
Attorney will
yes,
be joining us.
I'll be joining.
Yeah, so
Yes.
the global
Alright.
migrant is joining then.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll probably schedule a meeting next week so we can firm up the activities and the dates.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Okay, and the rest of the agenda, it looks like we've covered it. So we have cultural entertainment, modern entertainment, ceremonial and formal activities, educational activities, vendors, PIDC activities. So I believe we've covered those, but would you guys like to, go line by line, or is it okay to move to the next section, which is other matters?
I think it will benefit to move forward. Yep.
Okay.
Well, we need to move forward. It's
Yeah, let's just move forward because that can be discussed by the subcommon program anyway.
Got it.
So nothing new so far.
So we are at PIDC activities. Not sure what that line refers to in the agenda.
No, I
That's
think that
that's our PIDC activities already. That's the one, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're referring to.
Got it. And then other matters?
probably what you were saying, Ryan, the host for the next meeting. I think that would be
Got it.
other matters.
So the next line is the host, the next scheduled meeting, which we're gonna be able to keep, what, February 22?
I would warn everyone that's Ash Wednesday.
Oh, that is Ash Wednesday. That is Ash Wednesday. Do we want to move to
Tuesday, before Tuesday.
Tuesday? Sure.
Yeah.
That's Holy Week in general, right?
Yeah. But at least the
Yeah, can we skip Holy Week first if it's okay?
Yeah.
Maybe in 2 weeks' time we can reconvene if it's everybody's pleasure.
Yeah, 2 weeks' time is good. I think we're moving anyway. I think we're moving along. There's some specific things to be done, right?
Yeah,
So-
it looks like we have specific tasks and at least one meeting that's one small meeting that we'll need to have next week.
Oh, and next week is it's February 22nd. It's Ash Wednesday. It's not really Holy Week though. So maybe we can make it on
Oh,
February.
it's the Holy
21st.
Week yet. Yeah.
The Holy Week is somewhere March. End of March.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's in
It's
March.
only Ash Wednesday.
Actually, the Holy Week, the Holy Week is April 2. It starts with Palm Sunday, April 2. So that's the
Yeah.
Holy Week. So we can still have our meeting. It's just the Ash Wednesday we're trying to avoid. We
Yeah.
can either do it a Thursday evening or a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if there is any urgent, issues to be addressed, we always have that email thread that we have. We can always shoot there.
We're
Yeah,
okay
to
with
be included
Thursday.
in the agenda next meeting.
We're okay with Thursday, the 23rd, if everyone else.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay too.
Okay with me.
The next
Okay.
host, it depends on the next host.
Oh, right. Who is the next host after?
Technically, the next host
Letter
is
N.
Pass.
So it's
Yeah,
It's
go ahead.
Pass, but
Consul Mark,
next host is letter O. P.
Paase?
yeah, the next host is
No,
Pass.
is it still Paase or yeah, Paase?
Yeah.
Well, Mario is here in Manila right now. We are here. I'm not so sure if Mario returns. Let's just email Mario first, if that's okay.
Yeah, we'll send an email in the group, or if Nafa can do it when you send the minutes to ask Pase if they can host. If they can't, I have PNA here with us. I just want to give you a heads up. If Pase can't do it, is PNA open to doing the hosting for next week?
Which PNA, the Maryland or the DC?
Yes, there's two.
DC. Hi,
Right now, DC. Yeah.
yeah. Hi, Vice Consul Mark and everyone. I was actually gonna ask if there's, if you could skip us and, on the rotation to lead the meetings, that is just fine with us. So
Sure.
if anyone would
Sure.
like to do it, please do so.
No problem. In that case, Unified is next. So if Paase can't, Unified is the one next in line. Is Unified open to doing it? Just in case.
not yet next week, not on the 23rd, Mark. I can attend, but we still have to discuss many things.
Okay. So again, this is just in case PASE can't do it next week. The next in line would be UST. Romel, do you also cover the UST alumni or no?
No.
No, it's Rene. It's Rene Calandria.
Rene. Rene Calandre.
Rene is also in Manila. He will also be in Manila next week. So let's ask Paas first. Maybe we can get in touch with Mario first, and then afterwards we can decide.
Yes,
Because
okay.
otherwise we can always postpone. We don't have to have a meeting next week until everybody's back in the US.
So
The
maybe
meeting
March,
is 23rd, right?
that the tentative meeting for next week. But I would recommend, I think because of this condition, maybe it's better to actually just meet on March 1. I don't know. That's my general thoughts.
Yeah.
Agree.
I would agree.
Yeah,
with
by
you.
then PAAS is back. UST, well, UST is not back yet. Yeah, but at least Unified may be ready then if PAAS is not available.
So what date on March?
We're looking at March 1st is the first
Yes.
Wednesday in March.
Yep, March 1st is a good day.
March. Okay.
Okay, so I'll go to the next organization.
Excuse me.
Oh.
You're coming back this Friday on the 17th? You're home now here, okay. So can you hold the host on the 24th? Paase? Yeah, next week? Can you?
As long as I have the notes and the minutes, siguro.
Sure. NAFA will send the minutes for us maybe the following days. Is that okay?
And the proposed agenda, yeah.
Yeah, sure, okay.
Velma, ask
thank
him
you.
also about March 1. Ask him also about
Okay.
March 1. Velma.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay.
Velma.
Yeah, she is okay on the March on the 24th because she's coming back here on the 17th.
No, the 24th is a Friday.
Oh, 23rd,
Okay.
Thursday. I thought Thursday.
Would he
So we
be
can
okay?
settle some. She's okay. Doc Mario is okay for the 24th.
Yeah, that's why Velma, I was hoping you could also ask him about March 1, just in case. March 1.
Oh, I can call him back. Okay.
Yeah. So those are two possible dates because
Yeah,
right now
what only wanted is the
committee's meeting.
agenda. I mean the minutes for NAFA. I know you will send it to us,
Yes.
everybody, right? Okay.
Yes, I'll send it.
Okay, thank you.
We'll probably need 2 to 3 days. Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. Right, just a closing convocation. I'm not sure if anyone wants to have the honor for that.
John, you would like to do it? Carl?
All right, he is okay also March 1.
Oh, good.
Okay, so
March
we'll do
1st.
the March 1. Okay, good.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Okay, I'll email him. Okay, back to the convocation, closing convocation.
Carl, would you do that, please? You want to do the closing prayer, Carl? Can you hear me? Okay.
Go ahead, Ryan. Were you gonna do the closing convocation?
Oh, I wasn't. I'm very bad at those. But I was gonna try
Okay,
to.
let me just end it. So
Okay.
let us all bow our heads again in the presence of the Lord. Dear God, you are the author of public and private goods. We thank you again for a successful virtual meeting of the PIDC steering committee members. We know that it won't be possible without your provisions, and we offer everything to you as we conclude. And thank you once more for this healthy discourse that made us stronger as a community. And thank you again for your wisdom that you have imparted in each and every one of us, your guiding love. And we pray, as always, for everybody here and our respective families, for safety and for our health. We pray through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Amen.
Amen.
And thank you, everyone. NAFA will have the minutes for this meeting by Friday, and we'll coordinate the next meeting with the next organization as well.
Good night.
Thank you, Ryan, for hosting.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Ryan.
Ryan. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank
And everybody.
you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Council Lim.
Take care. Thank you, Consul. Thank you.
Stay
Bye.
safe, Tita Grace.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Guys,